think as I have matured as a woman and as a mother and just in all these different facets of my life, I have started to understand that you are able to adapt and you can always change your circumstances. The more you take little steps to get to your goal, the less loud all of the noise becomes. But you have to believe that you can be one of the ones who works their way up and is able to create that life for themselves, because it is possible. Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, I'm gonna give you some good old business motivation, because I find that at this time of year, people really start to fall off of those New Year's resolutions and those New Year's goals. So I'm here to give you that extra little push to keep you going. If you like this video, go ahead and like it, subscribe if you haven't already, and let's jump right in. I'm gonna start off this video by saying that I am not a perfect person. I am not a perfect entrepreneur. I'm not a perfect businesswoman, and I never claimed to be. The reason I'm saying this is because it's very easy to look at someone who maybe has reached a certain level in their success, a certain level in business, a certain level in life, and feel like they have everything together and that they are perfect in every aspect of their life. But the reality of the situation is we are all people, and even those of us who have reached that pinnacle of success, at least for me, as far as Amazon goes and e-commerce, I've hit some pretty high levels, 7 figures, all of that, but it hasn't been just perfectly smooth sailing all the way throughout. So I want you to know that even if the journey is not perfect and there are some obstacles, some challenges and things come up, it does not mean that you are not going to make it to where you're trying to go, and it's important to remember that. So I want to start with this idea of mindset, and you guys please bear with me, because everything that I'm talking about is just what I have experienced and what I have learned over the last 6 years of being in business for myself, selling on Amazon. I do not have any formal training in mindset. I don't have a life coach. I don't have, any person like that who has coached me through this area of my growth. This has all been essentially self-taught, and I do think that there are really important lessons to be learned by just doing something. You learn by action, you learn by repetition, you learn by trying and then potentially succeeding or having a step back. And I'm calling it a step back because it does not have to mean it's a failure just because something doesn't go according to plan. That is just rerouting. That is you having an opportunity to learn something, and then you apply it to the next situation. You do better, you grow, and then you move on. So when it comes to the topic of mindset, there are a couple different categories of people that I am able to identify. Again, nothing scientific, nothing research-based. This is just what I have observed, both in my professional life as a businesswoman, as a mom, as a sister, just as a person moving through this world and always on a journey to learn more and be a better person. I have been able to identify a couple of different types of people. There are 4 different types that I want to touch on, and broken down into 2 categories, the positive ones and the negative ones. Under the positive category, we have people who are optimistic and people who are realistic. To me, those are both positive attributes and both positive ways of approaching business. Optimistic because of course you want to believe that you will be able to achieve anything that you put your mind to, and that sets you up to be in a place that you are in belief and you know that it is possible for you to get there. On the flip side of that, we have people who are pessimistic. That's the direct opposite of an optimistic person is a pessimistic person. So for those of you who don't know, pessimistic means you have a negative outlook on life. You have a negative approach. You think that things are not going to work out well for you. You think you're not going to succeed. You think you're destined to fail. Those are all attributes of someone who would be categorized as pessimistic. So we've got one positive, optimistic, one negative, pessimistic. And then we have the ones that are a little bit more gray, where theoretically they could go either way. So on the category of realistic, which I consider a positive thing, but there are a couple of caveats. Now, when it comes to realism, I do think that the society that we're in kind of sets us up to have a negative to realistic outlook on life. And what I mean by that is, we live in the real world, right? We know that there are good people and bad people. We know that capitalism exists and it's not always a positive thing. We know that in order for there to be really wealthy people, there have to be really poor people. That is a realistic viewpoint. However, you want to err on the side of realistic and positive, meaning, yes, there are people who have to be wealthy and people who are just not going to be. but you have to believe that you can be one of the ones who works their way up and is able to create that life for themselves, because it is possible. So I hope you guys understand what I'm saying, where realist is just kind of like middle of the road, but you can teeter on more negative or teeter on more positive, and you want to have that belief that things are achievable and that you will be able to make it to that goal that you have set for yourself. And last but not least, we have cynical people. Now, people who are cynical are oftentimes going to believe that people are very much self-motivated, that there are not a lot of genuinely sincere people in the world, that there's always an agenda, there's always kind of reason or motivation, a negative motivation for someone to do something. So for example, if you think about the way a lot of people view billionaires, like someone like Elon Musk, let's not get political, I'm just saying, people have a cynical view of him because he is extremely wealthy. It seems like he's very self-interested, and there are not going to be a lot of people who look at a person like Elon Musk and think, wow, that's a great person and he just loves the world and he's an amazing guy. That's not going to be the first thought, at least for me. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you feel that way, no shade. I'm just saying that's the way that I view it. And I think a lot of people would probably be in agreement with that, especially at the time of recording this video in March of 2025. We're living in crazy times. But anyway, moving forward, that is kind of the viewpoint. And with that, it can, in a sense, and look, don't be mad at me, but it can, in a sense, serve you well as an entrepreneur, because when you are an entrepreneur, you are self-interested. This isn't to say that you put that above everything else. It doesn't mean that all you care about is your success or how much money you make, but it is a factor. It's something you care about, or else you wouldn't be working for yourself. You know what I mean? That is one of the perks of entrepreneurship. However, you can have, an ethical approach to wanting to do well. You can still, want to make a lot of money, but still also want to help other people, still want to serve other people, still want to provide a solution to a problem. They don't have to be two separate things. They can exist at the same time. So I think that if you have a more cynical approach to life, you just have to remember that, yes, there are people who are going to be self-motivated and only really care about what benefits them. There are still genuine people, and there are still ways that you can ethically run a business or ethically, work for yourself and still have a positive outcome and still kind of create the life that you want. So with that being said, I have come to hone in on my own mindset and my own approach to everything that I do in life now. And it has changed dramatically from the time that I started running my business back in 2019 to who I am now in 2025. I am the same person, but I have grown dramatically in ways that I never would have imagined. In the past, I had a very negative and kind of critical attitude when it came to life. I kind of believed that there are some people who are rich and some people who are poor. There are some people who have resources. There are some people who don't. There are some people who have great families and some people who don't. It was very black and white for me. And I think as I have matured as a woman and as a mother and just in all these different facets of my life, I have started to understand that you are able to adapt and you can always change your circumstances. Now, I say that from a privileged place. I understand that some people have it much harder than others, but I can guarantee you guys that I did not have any handouts when it came to, the growth of my business or getting to where I am now. It was done through a series of trial and error, a lot of effort, a lot of blood, sweat, and tears, blessings from the good Lord. I mean, there are so many factors that kind of came together to get me to where I am now. But I will say that I would not be here and I would not have gotten to this level of success with Amazon or across any of my other businesses or streams of income if I did not have the mindset that I could do it. And there's so many things that go into not believing that. We have imposter syndrome, we have intrusive thoughts, we have anxiety, we have fear of failure, fear of looking dumb, fear of losing money. I mean, the list goes on and on. So there are genuine and legitimate, reasons to have a little bit of apprehension when it comes to starting something new or to, wanting to launch a business. And that is fair. I want to validate you if you feel that way. But what I also want to say is that so many people who get to these levels of success, They do it even when they're scared. They do it even if they're nervous that things might not work out. They do it even if the people around them don't believe that they can achieve it. And that's a whole nother tangent that I can go down. Maybe I'll make it a separate video about, other people and kind of blocking out the noise in order to really just double down, keep your head down, work on, gaining a skill or learning how to do something. And then, just understanding and coming to peace with the fact that people will see it later on. When you get there, they will understand, they will see it. But in the building stages, there are going to be people who, don't necessarily understand or believe. And you can't let that shake your belief that you can do it. You have to almost put yourself in an echo chamber. Like, you know what? I believe that I can sell on Amazon. I have seen it. I have watched videos. I believe that this is something I can do. Excellent. You've already done something that other people are not willing to do. They're not willing to do something different than, going to their 9 to 5 or whatever. No shade. I'm just saying, if that is what they are used to and that's all they've ever known, you choosing to do something so different might be foreign to them. It might be scary to them. It might be confusing to them. And, that is not your problem. If someone else doesn't understand what you're trying to do, because that you're trying to elevate, that you're trying to do better. And that's what matters, because it's your life. You have to live it. You have to wake up every day. You have to, live in your skin, and you really have to get comfortable with the idea of taking the path less traveled and doing things a little bit differently and thinking outside the box. And I don't know about you guys, but the people who are most inspirational to me, I think of Michelle Obama and Oprah and, these figures who have done, so much as far as philanthropy and just like how they carry themselves, the grace, the elegance, the story, the come up. There's so many things that inspire me about these people, but many of them have been through their own trials and tribulations. There's nobody that I look up to that just got there because it was given to them, or because, they're a Nepo baby and they just happen, I don't look up to people like that. I look up to those who are able to make something of themselves, who have been able to withstand adversity and, really just stand on their own 2 feet and stick with their morals and stand on business. That's really what it is. That's something that I admire so much, because it's very hard to do that in a world that is very, very easy to be influenced and to be convinced and to be, swayed to do this or live your life that way. And we see it, at least I see it every day on social media. We have all of these shifts in society on what is beautiful, what is acceptable, what is, the standard, what is to be aspired to. And sometimes it's a very, very traditional. That's how I feel things are going now. Very conservative, very traditional is kind of like the way that I see a lot of things going. And it's interesting because I don't know, even 5 years ago, that wasn't the case, but things change. So you want to be the type of person who knows what is important to them. You know what your morals are. You know what's important to you. And you are not swayed by the way that the wind moves. You're not swayed because now all of a sudden the popular thing is to, do this thing or to do that thing. You are you, your opinion matters, and your life belongs to you. So make sure that you're always being headstrong and always, just being confident in your decisions, even if in your heart you do have a little bit of anxiety, a little bit of fear. Just know that that's normal. But at the end of the day, you being consistent and disciplined and just doing what you tell yourself you're going to do is going to get you so far in this life. That is something that I have become very, very good at. If I'm being honest, I gotta brag a little bit. I have become that person that's like, this is what I'm gonna do, and then I do it. I don't say I'm gonna do it and then, put it off or make excuses, because I made that promise to myself. And if there's anybody that I am going to be real with and anybody that I'm going to try my best for, it's me. And that's the energy that you want to have. I told myself that I was going to travel the world. And you guys, actually a funny story real quick. When I was living in Atlanta, this was back in 2019, and I had gotten into a car accident, and I got this crazy skin infection. I know this seems very random, but stay with me. This crazy skin infection, and I was so depressed, and I was just in a horrible place. My Amazon business was doing well, but it wasn't 7 figures well, you know what I mean? So I was still just being cautious, trying to figure things out. And at that time, I remember I was just looking at all of these people who are traveling the world and seeing all these things. And I said, I'm going to travel. I even remember specifically, I told myself, I am going to go to Peru. This is what I said. And then, lo and behold, a couple months later, I quit my job because Amazon was doing great for me. I moved to California. I took a birthday trip. I came back, I got pregnant, and COVID happened. So it was like life just got away from me. But I never forgot that promise I made to myself. I said, I'm going to travel the world. It seemed very outlandish and very unrealistic at the time, but that's what I said to myself. Okay, life happens, it's COVID, now I have a newborn, I got postpartum depression, I'm like fighting for my life, struggling every day with my mental health. I mean, there were things that were going on, but my business was thriving. Amazon's making me a lot of money, and I said, you know what? I can do the things that I told myself I would do. I can accomplish these goals. I can pay off my $40,000 in student loans. I can buy my mom a house. I can, quit the job, which I already had at that time. And guess what? I can now travel the world. And so the last few years, I've spent so much of my time just traveling and seeing so many incredible places. I have been to Bora Bora, I've been to Dubai, I've been to Peru, that was very full circle for me, Jamaica, Turks and Caicos, I've been to the south of France, I've been to Barcelona, and just amazing, amazing places. And it was a dream deferred, but not a dream that I was not able to achieve. I had to find a method to get there, and selling on Amazon was my method to get there. But at the end of the day, my point is, you can do anything that you set your mind to. Do not let any external factors deter you. Do not even let yourself deter you, okay? Those negative thoughts that you might have that are trying to stop you from pursuing your goals, you need to silence it. You need to put it down. And the best way to do that is by taking action. The more you take little steps to get to your goal, the less loud all of the noise becomes. You know what you have to do. You know that you've got to do your product research. You know that you have to find that supplier. You know you have to make that listing. When you're focused on those action items, you become less and less deterred and less distracted by everything else that everyone else has to say, which is completely irrelevant, okay? So with that, I just wanted to give you a little bit of motivation, a little bit of a pep talk so that you know that you can do it. I know that we are in, what is it now? We're pushing April. I mean, it's March right now. So either way, coming up on the end of Q1 of the year, I know that we all make a lot of goals, a lot of resolutions at the top of the year, and it can become very easy to fall off of those, especially as the weather starts to get nicer here in Vegas. It's finally starting to be, warm, and you just want to be outside and just doing whatever. Not a bad thing, but don't let that distract you or keep you from achieving your goals, okay? If you guys have any questions at all, feel free to go ahead and put them in the comments down below, and I'll see you in the next video.